Firstly, I welcome this place now last 59 years. This is my home. So the visitors to my home, I must express my welcome. And few decades here, this new place, I feel there's much experience gain. One, the over 1,000 years since 8th century, the Tibetan emperor Chisung Dezen, and he invited a great Indian master, philosopher, or monk, Shantarakshita from Nalanda. He introduced the Buddhism according to Nalanda tradition. Nalanda tradition, mainly Sanskrit tradition. The Sanskrit tradition, not just faith, or Buddha stated that, so we must accept, we must believe. Not that way. Even Buddha's own sort of teaching, the Nalanda, according to Nalanda tradition, they investigate why Buddha stated that. So, because if we accept literally this particular teaching, it goes against the reason. Therefore, they reject it. Then they find out what is the reason why Buddha stated that. If we accept it literally, it goes against the reason. So, Nalanda tradition, you see, very much emphasis investigation and experiment, not faith. So, last few decades, I found quite useful that tradition. And this very room, several occasions, meeting with scientists. So, the basic Nalanda tradition is investigation. Therefore, the scientists also, you see, they are sort of all their knowledge through investigation, not faith. So we can go together, side by side. And after more than 30 years, you see, it is mutual benefit. We also found some useful information. Such as Big Bang theory and how started this world, this whole galaxies. In Buddhist literature, the essential thing already mentioned. All galaxies, everything, you see, start from space particle. Go like that. So, but more detailed, the Big Bang theory, useful. And then neurobiology. Neurobiology is a modern scientist, especially the brain specialist. You see, their knowledge, their finding, very useful. And then physics, like quantum physics. As far as quantum physics is concerned, we know better than modern scientists. One Indian, the nuclear physicist, now he no longer. Once he told me, quantum physics in the West, something new concept. But in this country, over 2,600 years already developed quantum idea of quantum physics. So then psychology. Psychology is concerned, ancient Indian psychology. Any Indian here? No Indian? Okay. Indian psychology, I think over 3,000 years in this country, you see, develop the investigation about I, about self, and about mind. Therefore, you see, I think in ancient Indian psychology, sometimes you see, I compare ancient Indian psychology, Western psychology looks like a kindergarten level. Truly, Indian psychology highly developed, and including meditation, single-pointed meditation, and analytical meditation. Very useful, very useful. So, then, meantime, practically, I think every year, the news killing on this planet. The worst thing, even in the name of religion, killing. This very moment, I think, we are quite peaceful here. But same planet, same time, how many people now killing? Syria. And then Yemen, oh, those children facing starvation. Really, very sad. Really very sad. And then the gap reached the poor. The global level, northern world, materially quite rich, and southern world, even basic necessity lacking in some African area. So now all these, what is the source, what is the main cause of these problems is actually lack of moral principle. What is the moral principle? Not necessarily believe religion or God or Buddha, but simply, you see, on the basis of sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings, I do not want suffering. Other human brothers and sisters also is the same desire, same right. So develop some sense of concern of their well-being. Now that's the irrespective whether believer or non-believer, whether believe this religion or that religion, that is secondary level. Important is human being, human brothers, sisters. So you see, taking care about their right. That's secular ethics. In India, in the West, some of my friends, kodo yangde kodo. Midigi, shukubja pege tebe stipshin ru. Ko koshane yagodo ya. En chaskem da. Meni yushin da. So, in the West, some of my friends, some Catholics, some Christian, some Muslim, you see, they have this sort of, when I use the word secular, then some of them suggest to me, you should not use that word. Because, you see, in the West, secular means disrespect religion and remain distance from religious faith. But according to Indian understanding, secular means respect, respect all religions and respect non-believers. So according to that sort of thinking, secular ethics then cover 7 billion human beings. If the moral principle based on religion, then out of 7 billion, around 1 billion non-believer. So, if you see some moral principle or inner value based on religion, then will not cover entire human being. So, Indian understanding, secular way, and then entire 7 billion human being. So therefore, I always is trying to share. Now we need the secular sort of ethics, not based on religious faith, but use reason and common sense. And then now in this, I think this very room, no, I think, okay, this room, several occasions meeting with scientists. And on one occasion, some scientists mentioned basic human nature is compassion. It is true. I think every child, they very much appreciate the others' love, kindness, loving kindness. Without that, they can't survive. So any person who appreciates others' loving kindness, they also have the seed of loving kindness. It is, I think, very realistic. The basic human nature is more compassionate. So that's, I feel, when I heard that, I think I may sort of explain, you see, that occasion. I think in America, I think, I can't remember the place, is we discuss. Some scientists show one sort of cartoon, no, one picture, 6-month-old child, human language not yet developed. So you see, not much influence from outside. So to that 6-month-old child, show one cartoon. In that cartoon, the young child, two young child helping each other. When that cartoon is seen by that 6-month child, smiling. Then the same cartoon, one part is two child, negative attitude, one another. When that 6-month-old child seeing that, oh, that child also, you see, feel clearly express unhappiness. Then the scientist, you see, they also, you see, mentioning constant anger, constant fear is actually eating our immune system. More compassionate mind there, our immune system maintained. Then our common sense, you see, the previous day, you lost temper and a fight, including your own wife or husband. Then that night, in dream, you will not get pleasant dream. And then next morning, sometimes you feel regret. So other hand, more compassionate day passed and a meeting with your friend like that. Then the whole night you feel very happy. Next morning, without even without the memory or what? Memory, just simply you feel something happy, isn't it? So
even without thinking, you automatically wake up blissful.
So therefore, basic human nature is more positive, more compassionate. Now, the important is existing education, very much oriented about material value, not talking about our inner value. Inner value is concerned, we totally rely on religious faith. Now religious faith, now these days, I think in America or in Europe, many big Christian monasteries, now very few people there. So in the society, you see the influence of religion less and less. I think about 200 years ago, I feel, I'm not expert, but I feel about 200 years ago, you see the separate education institution started. Mainly in Europe, industrialization started. So with that, the education, usually you see in monastery or nunnery carry, that now not adequate about mathematics or some other things. So separate education institutions started. So at that time, I think quite well balanced. Moral principle is concerned, religious, or say the monastery or nunnery, they take care, they take the responsibility. Newly developed education institution now only take care about our brain, study. So now, as I mentioned earlier, the religious institution cannot, I think, cope sorry on these problems. So, newly developed education institution alone should take care both brain development and development of warm-heartedness. Now the brain, the development of warm-heartedness relying on faith, difficult. So now, as I mentioned earlier, the scientific finding, I think very useful, very helpful. Then also, we use our common sense, as I already mentioned, calm mind, very important, very helpful. According to my own sort of little experience, whole my life is passing through difficulties. Age 14, my freedom lost, and then fear come. Then 25, 24, I become refugee. I lost my own country. Then a lot of sad news always come from Tibet. But I can keep peace of mind because through training of our tradition, the Nalanda tradition, as I mentioned earlier, the ancient Indian psychology, really useful, helpful. So now the main point is mainly through education, in a secular way, there's possibility to change human mind through education, not through religious sort of way. So then, these days, I'm sort of expressing in education, the hygiene of physical already there is good. The children also, you see, some extent they know how to take care of their physical health. Now we should include hygiene of emotion. I think the reality, physically, due to fuller knowledge about how to take your health, take care of your health. So very good health, very strong body, but mentally too much emotion, more dangerous. So health of the hygiene of emotion, I feel very important. So hygiene of emotion, not through faith, but through knowledge. The emotion world, quite big. World of mind, I think even much more sophisticated than physical condition. Physically alone, too many sort of elements and particles, genes, and the chromosome somewhere, chromosome, very sophisticated. But mind, mental level, even more complicated. So we should learn something about, you see, I usually call map of emotion, map of mind. Then much easier to tackle. So museums, firstly education, I think very important. Then museum for everybody, old, young people. You see, you have, I think, very good opportunity, you see, to show people it is wrong just paying attention for material value in order to be happy person. With peaceful, happy person means more peaceful mind than happy. Too much also the sense of competition brings too much stress. So the secular ethics, these are something, not something holy, but day-to-day life. These are very important to keep healthy mind and healthy body. So I appreciate your sort of commitment or interest. So now some questions. Yes, yes. Firstly, if you prepare question, then we can open. Open, discuss.
Thank you
yes.
very much, Your Holiness. Your Holiness, to heal the many wounds in our society, it is our understanding that your teaching recommends an education of the heart. Would you kindly share your thoughts with us on what is a human heart? Where does it stand in its relationship to human mind, will, and ego? And what potential an educated heart might present towards the greater good of people and the planet?
Education warm-heartedness, this English word.
Actually, in Tibetan, we don't use the term, warm heart as such. There's no word in Tibetan for that.
Because, you see, your culture, you see, no particular word about, you see, samsambo. Samsambo, warm-heartedness.
So in your culture, you use the term warm heart, whereas in our culture, we use the term warmth of mind.
So, now when I use the word warm-heartedness means mainly motivation. Then brain is source of our intelligence. Other social animals, biologically, they also have some limited altruism, take care of each other. We basically social animal, but then differences are sort of brain. I think brain which is connected with sensorial sort of consciousness. Animals' brain much bigger, like elephant, big, but the other side, behind the medulla, medulla, you see that part of brain, we human being much bigger than the other animal. So we have much, much greater sort of potential of sort of, we, according to Indian tradition, we call analytical meditation, analyze. Every phenomena, you see, we should sort of, every phenomena is causes, conditions, not just independently exist. So investigate what is the causes, what is the condition. The physical health, also good health will not come through prayer, but investigate the hygiene of the health. Then similarly, peace of mind also not come through prayer, but analyze what kind of mind or emotion destroy peace of mind. Anger, very clear. And too much attachment, also you see destroyer of peace of mind. Then mental level, the suggestion ya chik genta chiya chita chiyorwa. Ta the shebas le zane kun zindan gewe kone genta chiya modo mitwa.
So in terms of material things, we can talk about opposites. They're physically there. When one thing is there, it cannot be the same space. In the same space, you cannot have another matter as such. But in the case of mind, when there's no such spatial kind of extension, but then we have to understand how we tackle our emotions by developing the opposite emotions that can counter the negative ones. So in this way, we have to see how our emotions could be tackled.
There's one emotion, one mind. You see, for example, you consider the one thing, this is good. That emotion, that mind, and another mind, this is bad.
So when we talk about countering some emotion, that emotion that we need that we think of countering, and the one that counters it actually looks at the same object, but they see it differently. They're different perspectives.
So anger, obviously now, no, anger destroys our peace of mind. Now the antidote of anger, not through belief, not through prayer, but try to find out within the emotion, what's the counterforce? That's compassion. It's a sense of care. What? Other. You see, the anger is a wish, more problem to that person, I think. Isn't it? So compassion is a thinking, sense of concern of their well-being. So two person and one person, when your mind is a more compassionate feeling with that person, you see, you really wish that person should have more sort of the pleasant days, happy life. When your anger becomes stronger, then you really wish, that person should die tonight. Isn't it? So you see, same person, but mental attitude, one very negative, one is positive. So, anger will not go away. by drugs or alcohol or sound sleep. No. Only find out the opposite mind, emotion. When you develop, familiarize that part of mind, and mind, the
So when we think about transforming within, it has to come through familiarization.
Oh, you see, mind, now, for example, anger, is a think more. Mainly that person now, at present, that kind of his negative attitude. 1 month ago, very negative. 1 year ago, very negative. So you see, thinking that, you see, your face become more red. So the all mental level, you see, not the mind, not matter. So the mind, you see, the kumrirang thon rodeyaji, kombarang thon.
No. So you need really to, continuously familiarize your mind with the positive attitudes.
So now, more compassionate mind increase. The opposite, anger, hatred, automatically reduce. Now, how to sort of strengthen, how to increase sense of compassion. Firstly, we are a social animal. It is a very part of our mind, part of our life. Then second, the scientific finding. So everybody take care, your own body, your own health. Now scientists say that. Now everybody want friends. Friendship, you see, money, in some extent, may bring more friend. But these friends actually friend of money, friend of wealth, not the person. When person, you see, the more fortune, getting richer, more friends. And then that person, that family, go that way. I think these even those friends, quite often you say come, then they may not come. Even you telephone them, their answer very short. So these friends are actually friend of money, not friend of you as a person, like that. So therefore, I think genuine friendship very much based on trust. Trust come if you really show your sense of concern of their well-being, then trust come. We are a social animal. Friendship is very important. In order to make friendship, trust very important. Trust, more compassion there, trust come. Isn't it? So now, we are, as a social animal, friendship very important. My own daily sort of experience, if I show my face, always angry face, I think the people one time come, see Dalai Lama, very angry face, then I think they prefer not come. See, my sort of practice, smiling, because I consider 7 billion human beings are same human brothers, sisters. So, national differences, religious differences, these are secondary. Basically, we are same human being. The way we born, same way. The way we survived with mother's milk, same way. So, physically, mentally, emotionally, 7 billion human beings are same. So I always think in that way, so we are same. So wherever I go, I always feel another human brothers, sisters. So automatically, my smile automatically comes. So I never sort of feel some kind of stranger like that. So that's my own experience. So Dalai Lama, I think many people come here, met me, and then when they remember Dalai Lama, more smiling for human being. So therefore, you see, even create happy family, a trusted group. Compassion is key thing. So think this line, then you develop more convincing about warm-heartedness. It's very, very useful. Then we human being, this unique intelligence, now that intelligence utilize for further strengthening this warm-heartedness. So intelligence, warm heart combined, then we can develop infinite love. Other animals cannot. Okay. Then Jimosway. Yes, next question. Not necessary to stand. Sit. I don't like formality. Informal.
So we have discussed, you have discussed the importance of compassion towards other human beings, because we are all one. How might we best foster compassion towards nature, including the sentient beings, but also natural resources that support life?
That's naturally. When we use human intelligence, not like animal, then automatically, in order to create happy humanity, environment, very important. I think the global warming, very serious. Within my lifetime, I noticed here, Dharamsala, because of the summer, 6 days, I came here. That winter, a lot of snow. Now each year, less and less. In Tibet also, during my lifetime. So in early, they say, I think 30s, 70s, no, 30s, 40s, it's in high mountain surrounding Lhasa. During winter, more snow. Within one or two decades, it becomes less and less. So now, global warming, very serious matter, very serious matter. When I sort of flying over Afghanistan, you can see previously some water, now dry. So that situation, eventually Tibet also, I think, may become like that, desert. I usually telling my Indian friend, we Tibet is actually a supplier of water to India. If Tibet, they gradually snow fall less and less, become dry, then all those major rivers which give, I think, over billion Indians water, then gradually difficult. So therefore, the ecology is very, very important. Some occasion I suggested to local official, now for the time being, some sort of sources of water, some snow. During this period, we should think that eventually snow may become less and less. So we should think, because reserve water, or some dams or some other sort of things. I'm suggesting like that. So that's very important. And then more plantation, very essential. And take care about environment. When I was in Tibet, no idea. Then firstly came to India, I surprised the same water, some say this water cannot drink because much polluted. Then I developed interest about ecology and these things. So those experts, my Chinese friend, you see, once he showed me one article, Tibetan plateau. He described what's a Tibetan plateau is third pole. Reason the effect global warming from Tibetan plateau is as much as South Pole, North Pole. So he described Tibetan plateau is third pole. Like that is a Tibet, roof of the world, and high altitude. So you see, the global warming, the Tibetan plateau, really makes, you see, big sort of the effect, right? Like that. So ecology, very important. The people, consumerism survey. People, materialistic life. You only knows how to utilize, much less sort of concern how to protect, isn't it? So actually, existing education, too much emphasis, materialistic sort of value. So now our education should include some education about our inner value. That's very important. Yes. So therefore, now in this country, in India, now one of my commitment is try to revival of ancient Indian knowledge about mind, about emotion. So modern India, too much materialistic. Because any Englishman, English. Now these English men and women, when you colonize India, I think, I think you introduce so-called modern education, very much materialistic sort of oriented. You introduce. I also, you see, some sort of critics, when modern education started in this country, at that time, some of the ancient, some of the Indian who have fuller knowledge about ancient sort of knowledge about mind, about emotion, they should participate to start the education in this country. So those Indian, sometimes I think Gandhiji, he thoroughly educated in England, become a lawyer, but he very much sort of, he whole his life, later part of his life, you see, remained like ordinary Indian, dress, everything. And other Indian leader, even I think Jawaharlal Nehru, is my great friend. He's really very, very helpful to Tibetan problem, to me personally also, but his lifestyle more Westerner. So those English, I think they change Mahatma Gandhi's sort of, I think, education. He thoroughly educated in modern education. But at the same time, he remained very close with the Indian masses. But the Nehru, with the one rose here and a little bit sort of Western. Next question.
Some school children in Portland, Oregon, prepared some questions. They were working on compassion as part of their schoolwork. And I would like to now pass the phone to my colleague, Ruth Shelley. She's the director of Portland Children's Museum.
Okay.
She will ask you their question.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Our children are 6, 7, and 8 years old in our school, and they've been studying empathy and perspective taking as part of their curriculum. As they talk about compassion, one girl said, when asked, what does compassion mean to you? It means you feel something for someone, and so if you felt, oh, I want to help this person, then you do something to help. So the teacher asked, does this mean you first notice and feel something and then you act? And another child said, no, there's more. I would add pause, because once I notice, I have to think about what I am going to do. And so they came up with a framework about thinking about compassion, that you notice, you feel, you pause, you think, and then you act. And their question is, can you skip a part of the framework and would it still be compassion? For example, if you notice, you feel, and you pause, and you think, but you do not act, is it still compassion?
I think in brain, I think we can say, although I'm not expert, as a result of meeting with a number of scientists, brain specialists, it seems to see, firstly, it's a sense of concern of others' well-being, or similarly, anger, the medulla, this part of the brain. Then that gives signal to the front the brain. Then action comes. So therefore, the real effect to other is through action, not just my mental level. But the action very much related with motivation, so mental level. So firstly, develop sense of concern of others' well-being, that is compassion. That creates action. The action really makes a difference to others. So similarly, negative emotion, anger, fear. Firstly, I think strong sense of oneself, me. No, that, you see, creates something, some sort of unhappy towards me, then irritation, then anger, then violence come. So all human action, there are some action. You see, if I want to fly, touch here, automatically my hand go that without motivation. The chair masawa, any chasa niga sang, any sala macheva, tuksungdua.
So in the Indian psychology, we talk about actions or karma, which are created but not intentionally done. And then there are those which are intentionally done but not created as such. And then there are those which are both, and those which are none.
So action is because of the effective action, very much related with motivation. Motivation related with heart. And then judging what kind of motivation is useful, what kind of motivation is harmful, judged by brain. So therefore, in education field, we should include about the value of moral principle. That firstly brings peace in that individual person. Then that, you see, eventually, you see, can share with more people. From one person, you see, more warm-heartedness person, is share with 10 people. Each 10 people share another sort of the 10, that means 100. So 1 person, 10 person, 100 person, 1,000 person, 10,000 person. That's the way is to change our community. And finally, humanity. I think through education, I think humanity, there is real good potential. So eventually humanity, through education, may sort of, so there is hope, become more compassionate humanity. So I usually is describing this century should be hopefully compassionate century. Then non-violence automatically come. Eventually this world, whenever we find some disagreement, try to solve through talk, through dialogue, not use weapon. So eventually, I think we should think step by step, demilitarize the world. Through that way, we can achieve genuine, peaceful world. Otherwise, today, as I already mentioned, you see the killing. When I saw television, now these days, television always is some sort of, because of the picture, dying, killing. Now in America also now, some shooting. Very sad. America, the leading nation of free world. So America should be sort of, because of good example, right? Democracy, liberty, freedom. And freedom, liberty, democracy related with sincere motivation. Okay. So now America as the leading nation of free world. Now generally the image of America, now more violence there. Sad, quite sad. Okay, next question.
If a culture anywhere in the world is forbidden to grow, foster, and if those in power attempt to inhibit it, censor it, or misuse it, what is the role of the global citizen?
I think basically, world, today's world, not like past, I think, previous century or century before. Then the individual nation, I think British, I think biggest, too many because of the colonization. India, Burma, Sri Lanka, all these colonized by Gaza. So you see, in the past, you see, something happened here in India. You see, not much effect to other. Now today, through information and also global economy, everything interconnected. That's very clear. So southern world depend northern world, and eastern world depend western world. That's now today's reality. So in ancient time, think of my own nation. Okay, now time come. Is for your own nation's interest, you have to think global level. That's now a new reality. On top of that, global warming. No differences on different nationality, different religious belief. Whole world now facing same way. So therefore now, the reality telling us you need sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. So I think ultimately the sense of me, I, very small, that's narrow-minded. We are a social animal. In order to get that me maximum benefit, you have to take care about rest of the community, because you, me, I is part of the community. Now today's community, entire world, essentially one community. I feel that. Next. Yes, some question? Direct? Okay. Yes.
You spoke earlier today
Yemen.
about Yemen. We see the photographs as well. I'm just wondering if you could advise us what to do with, I suppose, the anger and the frustration we feel as human beings who want to put an end to that, but governments that control us or control the world, what do we do with our, we want to be compassionate, but we have anger toward the leaders. How do we deal with that?
That's a difficult question now. Now maybe we start from here, worldwide revolution. More constructive revolution, not destructive revolution. Or in any way, I think like UN, from time to time, express. And then also is Burmese Muslim. They are facing tremendous difficulties. So UN is some sort of concerned organization. You see, from time to time, you see, make clear this sort of issue. When I notice some branch of UN, you see, telling these things, I really feel, oh, still there are, you see, people or organizations who really showing concern, whether they effective or not, that's a different question, but at least some is a voice. So now, see, we have to sort of, encouraging, you see, these people who, or organization or NGO who take care about this, besides government, some NGO sometimes more effective than government. NGO also they then related with individual person. So I think we can sort of we can do something. We can make some small contribution. These things. Otherwise, this government difficult. Then government also, you see, we can't blame them. These leaders also used to come from such sort of education. Just think oneself. And finally think their own family. Difficult. Yes?
Your Holiness, we are all giants of comprehensions, but dwarfs of implementation. Why people are not good?
As I already mentioned, I think education, at least is a Tibetan community, generally, even some Chinese who spent a few days in Dharamsala, they also, significantly, they also notice Tibetan community more jovial, more friendly. As some Chinese, told me, when they come here, a little sort of anxious or Tibetan may show no more negative attitude. But when they come here, it's a very, very friendly atmosphere. These things, culture makes differences. So Tibetan culture, I usually used to say Buddhist culture. Buddhism, Buddhist culture, I make distinction. Many Tibetan Muslim, their religion Muslim, but their way of life very much in the spirit of Buddhist culture. So that I think, so like that, I think the religion also is make some differences. And then also, Tibetan case, small country, small population. I think because of that, I think the individual's survival, individual's happiness very much depend on your neighbor. That also makes differences. I think in India, some of my friends say the number or the rate suicide in countryside much less. In big city, more. Reason I feel the countryside is still is a sense of community, much more there. So you see, individual family, when they're passing through some difficulties, they always feel, I can ask some help. In big city, just to see work in office or some other, just a salary, you see the lacking sense of community. So when facing some problem, helpless. So this, I think mainly materialistic culture, I think really, you see, makes materialistic life, materialistic culture. There is no room about compassion. That's my view. And then, further question? Do you have, judging your face, seems to see you have some further argument.
Well, the question was why. I think we know everything, and I think education is working perfectly well. But I think, and you just mentioned it, it's not enough. And the question is, we know everything, that how to behave good and how to be compassionate. But as a matter of fact, I think the world is not compassionate. And that's the question, why? It is so crystal clear, but it doesn't happen.
I think a negative emotion is more or less automatically come, spontaneously come. The positive emotion, you have to think more. So that makes differences, I feel. So negative emotion, more familiar. Positive emotion, you have to make some sort of effort. So familiarize. So, and then I think cultural heritage, I think, also makes differences. Then ultimately, feeling of I is always there. Taking care of oneself is there. The whole over 1 billion sort of evolution, evolution from small insect, from water, then gradually bigger animal, through that way, because apes, then human being. All these, you see, without taking care of oneself, will not happen. So it is Buddhist viewpoint. You see, it is nature thinking oneself, selfish there. Now the point I usually see mentioning, taking care self is necessary, but taking care yourself, selfish, should be wise selfish rather than foolish selfish. Taking care of yourself, all your neighbor make enemy. You never be happy person, happy family. Ultimately, taking care of yourself, number one. But then take care, make friend, your neighbor. Then you feel much more happier, long-lasting happier. This is common sense. Do you agree or not? Okay, no more smile. Okay. Thank you. Yes?
Yes, Hi Holiness. I was wondering if Your Holiness has had the chance to think about artificial intelligence. That's the field that I work in as an artist, artificial intelligence. There are two components to that question. One is that there's a race towards finding artificial intelligence, which is linked to consciousness. So I wanted to know if Your Holiness has had some ideas about whether or not, as humans, we are capable of creating a world that's intelligent and can have consciousness. But more importantly, perhaps, is that what we have realized is that artificial intelligence is done through machine learning. So we are training our machines to become more intelligent. What we have realized, or at least I've realized, is that there's a lot of biases that we have as humans that now we are transmitting towards our machines. So I wanted to know if His Holiness had some insight towards that.
There's many scientists and technologists. You see, they have some kind of sort of conviction that artificial intelligence can develop. That I don't believe. The machine, you see, we have to make a program by human being. So ultimately it's related to the human being. No matter how sophisticated sort of machine, I don't think independently do. I don't think. So for the moment, I'm skeptical, right? Skeptical. Another, you see, 20 years or 10 years, 20 years, if truly you see develop that, then I have to accept. Then I think, my next life. No, not this life. Yes?
I think in many ways anger often comes from fear. And
fear.
I'm curious what is the antidote for fear in teaching?
I think here, I feel self-confidence. Self-confidence very much related with moral principle. You always remain honest, truthful. That brings transparency is way. So too much self-centered attitude, not adequate, honest, truthful, then automatically it brings some fear. So here also I feel compassion brings self-confidence and honest, truthful. I feel that. Then use human intelligence. One great master of Nalanda sort of institution, 8th century, he expressed when we face some problem, to analyze the nature of the problem. That problem can overcome by our effort. Then no need fear, make effort. If the problem cannot overcome, impossible to overcome that, then no use too much fear, too much sad. That's quite realistic and practical. I think basically optimism, I think self-confidence and honest, truthful, I think brings optimism. Too much narrow-minded, self-centered, then fear usually come. Okay, that's my feel.
We have had a shift in leadership in America, and I think a lot of us in the museum field feel that the ground is shifting beneath our feet, and there's a lot of extreme anger on both sides. So I'm wondering if there are limits to compassion. because there's a lot of ideas about taking a stand, museums taking a stand, and there might be some tension with taking a stand and finding common ground.
I think you know better. I don't know. I think firstly, I think America, many years ago, you see, one time in Washington, so with a group of people, many of them, my longtime friend and supporters, I expressed, I not admire American nuclear weapon. I really admire American tradition, democracy, liberty, these things. So I think liberty, freedom, democracy, these also is related with taking care of others, the freedom come. Taking care of other, liberty come. Then you yourself more karada, honest, truthful. And I think rule of law, all this is related with motivation. Think only money, 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 money. Then this liberty, freedom, democracy, for money, I think sometimes totalitarian system have more ability to create more money. So I think America, as I mentioned earlier, great nation, leading nation of free world. So American principle, your ancestors' principle, I think you should, you should keep these principles. This I feel, including the leaders and the congressmen and the media. The president American, the president is considered media is enemy of the people. That's, I think, too far. So free press, freedom of media, it's very important. So of course, I respect your president, elected president, I respect. But I think naturally, his whole experience is money as a billionaire. I think lacking deeper experience, how to deal with other people, other nation, I think that's quite understandable. He only think money. If there's opportunity making money through selling weapon, he no hesitation. That's wrong. I think moral principle must be there, I feel. So however, you see, I can't blame. The whole life was as a sort of billionaire, like that. There is a Tibetan saying, "Shimi nilkuni samjudisari."
So the saying goes that even when the cat is asleep, it only thinks of the rat.
Oh. So those billionaire even dream, I think, only money, 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 money. Thank you. Thank you. I very much appreciate your sort of interest, and not only interest, you have some kind of feeling, commitment, is it how to do promotion of this deeper value. So I very much appreciate it. It takes time, not easy. So all these past as the big, great individual human being, when they start, it's a certain ideology or certain sort of the concept, And change society not take place over one night. Take generations. So similarly, our effort will not change the society overnight, but much better start some work. And then time passes, more and more people showing interest, and more people make effort. That's the way change our society. So don't discourage when you start something. If you face some obstacle, should not discourage. Okay, thank you.